Your homework.
That was like a second.
Yeah, you're looking down on
An
homework.
intellectual. You went like this.
That was like a second grade response.
Okay, so we're gonna go through the first part. Now the first part requires a little bit of thinking, and it's called basic limits. Okay, so we're gonna start with the basic limits. Basic limits. And then we're gonna start with this one. Okay. So limit x approaches c to the b. Now this one's interesting. I don't know if you guys can understand this. First of all, let's understand what is a variable, what is a constant. So on the side, I'm going to tell you, in terms of calculus, you're going to see x, y, z, theta. Usually this is what? This is variables, right? So this is the variables. And when you see like a, b, c, all other number k, m, n, so anything other than x, y, z, more likely they are constant. More likely they're constant. Could be L, could be K, could be anything. They're all constant. X, Y, Z, and theta usually are variables. That's something that you need to first share that understanding. Now later on you might have like I, J, and K, but I, J, and K is the vector directions. So that, it's totally different thing. So we're gonna talk about that when you go to, maybe 2 years from now, when you go to calculus 3. So that's, first we understand what is the variable and constant. So what is C? C is a constant or variable? So what is B? Constant. So what happens when limit x approaches C? B is equal to what? Okay. Challenge you to guys to think. No, anybody is smart enough to think. Yes.
A.
No.
X.
No.
BC.
Pick one. Jonathan, maybe you can come up with this. Limit x approaches C and B is equal to what? Mm-mm. No.
Oh,
Yes.
D.
No.
one. See all of it.
Okay, it's not gonna be like some random thing.
Yeah, like, it's gonna
B
be-
over C.
Is it gonna be one of the options you gave us?
Yeah,
Probably
it's
not.
B
I don't think it's gonna be
C.
I already said that. I said BC.
No, it's gotta.
I was not
Is it
BC.
not Y? Like.
Is it?
Wait.
Okay,
One
so
over
X, Y, Z equal to B.
the fifth period had one person solved it.
No.
Yep, of course.
Sounds about right.
But yes, B. Why is B?
Because it's on line B.
Huh?
How I did it was, I looked at one of the examples, right? And since it's the limit of that, B is gonna be like a line, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a vertical line or horizontal line?
Horizontal.
It's a very horizontal line. So think about it, B. So for example, usually we have a functions here. That function is going to be like x or x plus 1 or x plus 2, right? Yesterday you did some homework with 2x plus 1 or 2x minus 1, right? But that's a function. That's why they draw the line as 2x plus 1. But in this case it was a b, so that means y is equal to that b. What a b is, I don't care. That b is just an arbitrary number. And here we can call that 2. Maybe easier. So we're going to say that b is equal to 2. If that's 2, then that's going to be a horizontal line functions. That's the y equal to 2, right? So c is just some type of arbitrary numbers, some type of x value, right? So c could be here, could be here, could be here, could be here. It doesn't matter. But it doesn't matter what c I reach to, I'm always going to get the y value of that line, which in this case is b. Therefore, limit x approaches c of b is equal to b. Some people put a c. Some people
Doesn't that
put
make
b.
Y right?
Huh?
Does that not make Y right?
Yeah, technically.
Oh, B equals one.
Say I'm right, Mr. Yes. Say
B is equal.
No, because it's not y.
B is equal.
If you wrote Y equals B though.
Y equal to b in this case, yes, but this is limit x approach to b. Only specific said is target only towards b.
But if it was
So,
limit of
B
one.
is a some type of number, Y is a variable.
Mhm.
B is some type of number, could be 5, could be 10. Okay? So those are the basic things that you gotta understand. It's coming from a straight line, it doesn't matter where you reach, it's gonna be that Y value, and in this case, it's a B.
So in what case would it not be, B?
There are other limits we're gonna talk about. Okay. So the second basic limit, x approach to C of x. Now with the same concept, hopefully you can come up with a better answer this time.
Ooh, it equals X.
Wouldn't it be
Does
zero?
it equal X?
No,
Really? Come on.
Dang.
darn it.
Wait, okay.
Got me.
Anthony's trying to think.
Is it-
You guys should try to think too.
Say 0.
Why?
No? Yes, Nicholas?
X.
X!
I said.
No.
I said, okay, hold on.
I was about to be
Yeah.
so
That
mad
was
at you,
my
dude.
first answer because it's
A.
zero, so obvious.
Because Zachary
No,
already says
because
it's X.
That's already.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
What? C is right. Do you know why it's C?
I mean, like if x is a function, then you plug in the c value.
Oh, because
X is a
Oh,
function.
my God.
So, okay, now if I plug in C, what is my output? That's input, right? What's my output?
The same thing.
C. So therefore, it's C. It's simple concept, but a lot of people don't understand this. It's very abstract. Okay, so it's not something you can see. So this type of stuff, we look at a graphic perspective. Because we have to look at function and we gotta look at a graph. We cannot really analyze this by just thinking about it. It's hard to think about, it's hard to grasp the concept. At least for some of you guys, it's a very difficult, okay? People like Matthew, that you guys can think of things in this perspective, which is good. Okay, so that kind of take you to the next step. So next one, limit x approach to C of x to the n power. So what is going to be this one? This one's a lot easier once you understand those. What is this one?
C to the n.
C to the n. Input, output, that's it. Right? Question about this part. So those are the basic limits. And we'll just describe to you this, describe to you. What's the most common test question on my test? Last year people screwed up. Limit x approach to pi of 3 is equal to, and they're like, x approach to pi. But if you think about in terms of input output, that's a lot easier. My input is pi, but I put into 3.
So it's gonna be 3.
So the answer is 3, because the output is 3. This is the input. It doesn't matter what my input is. This is a constant. Does never change. Does that make sense? But people screw up this question. 80% of students screw up this question. That means 80% of you guys are gonna mess up this question if you don't pay attention, which is you probably not. But I already explained to you. Should I tell you what's on the test? Okay.
When is our test?
I don't know. Good question. Okay, so let's talk about property or limits. So we're just gonna talk about property. And those are simple property and they're very, very intuitive. So it's not something that is really extraordinarily hard. So we're gonna assume that limit x approach to C of f of x. And again, we're gonna call this L. What is L again? Constant. Anything other than x, y, z data is all constant. And we're gonna call this function as limit x approach to C of g of x. So this is a function. If I put C here, I'm gonna get k. So one's L, one is k. So what happens if we're gonna talk about the first property, which is called scalar multiple, I think? Yeah, scalar multiple. So it's limit x approach to C of b to the f of x. So in this case, what do you think the answer is? What is it? BL is right. Because once I reach this, that is L. But you're gonna multiply the constant, which is BL. So that's called scalar multiple, okay? I don't really care about the name, so I'm not gonna write down. You can write down if you want.
What is scalar multiple?
Yeah. Limit x approaches C of f of x, and this is called sum and difference. You can see that why is it called a sum and difference? Sum or difference?
Oh no, plus or
So,
minus.
plus minus, so it can happen both. So what do you think the answer is going to be?
Plus or minus K.
L plus minus K. You're catching up pretty quick. Okay. And the rest of them is all the same thing, so I'm gonna write down for you. This is called a sum and difference property. Sorry, I need a bracket here. Okay, so if I don't have bracket, I don't have L plus K. If I just have this, then that's not right. So I'm gonna say limit x approach to C of f of x times g of x, and then that's all, obviously it's gonna be L times K.
Why is it L?
Because when that limit x approaches C of f of x is equal to L, in this case it's L. So just this part is L, just this part is K, so L times K.
So it's just a fact that like limit f of x equals L.
No, x approaches C of x. This is a condition I have.
Okay, so this
Okay,
is
I
just
have
a
to go by
condition.
this.
Oh, it's a multiple?
No, because I'm just confused, because like, is the limit f of x with the x approach C equals L thing, like,
That's
a
just like,
condition that you've made up? or is
Yeah,
it
just
hallucinating?
a hypothetically, if I
Okay,
say
okay.
limit x approaches C of x is equal to 3, and limit x approaches C of g of x is equal to 2, in this case, it's gonna be 3 times 2 is 6. That's it.
That makes sense.
So a lot of time it's called notation fluency. A lot of time in AP Calc that we really emphasize on something called notation fluency. You understand the notation. Not only you understand the math, but you also understand what notation means. Because a lot of time notation could be completely different. Okay, yes,
So L and K don't, they just represent constants.
just some type of constant. Like I said, anything that other than x, y, z and data is pretty much, all other things is gonna be constant. Okay, so the next one is gonna be, obviously you can probably see it, it's gonna be x approach to C of f of x over g of x, right? So what do you think it's gonna be? L divided by k, but with the one thing that you put in mind, k never equal to 0. What happened when k equal to 0? It's undefined. So that's the things that you also need to understand. By, let's say limit of x approaches C of f of x n to the n. So that's gonna be, well, that's gonna be L to the n, right? And that's it. So that's all the properties. This is very self-explanatory. I think this is the hardest part for people to understand. This is actually harder to understand than this. This is a condition, and this is gonna be a result, and those are the properties. Okay. So you're gonna see that calculus really emphasize that if you know the fluency is. Yes.
For the basic limit, will it always equal a constant?
Which one?
Like, cause, so it was constant, limit of x approaches.
Which one? Are you talking about this
Like
one or
all
this
of
one?
them, like all of them, like would it always equal a constant?
No, there's two different type of constants. In this case, there's C and B. You cannot say this is a C.
No, I'm saying the like, B and C are both constants, right?
Yes,
So-
but there's different type of constant. If there's a B, there's C, that means one is
No,
2, the other one is not 2.
Will it ever equal a variable is my point, and will it ever equal beta for x for any type of limit?
If you approach in something, this is the start with the variable, right?
Yeah.
Then that's gonna replace that. A constant is gonna replace that.
Okay.
So like same thing, this is X, it's gonna replace that as X. Does that make sense?
Kind of, it's just like,
Okay, so you're gonna have to come out with a hypothetical issue that you might have, but this is really self-explanatory.
So the variable is always gonna be a constant.
In this case, yes. If that is constant, it's gonna stay as a flat constant to start with, because that constant is the function.
Like C is just the.
Can you erase this?
Wait.
Yeah, but for a second one, that only works because the lone variable, right?
Yeah, what if it is x squared?
Then, yeah.
Then you will approach the c, that's gonna be c
But
squared.
what if it's square root?
What?
If it's like
Doesn't
2x,
matter.
that makes
C
what?
square root,
If that was like 2x, that makes 2c?
yeah,
What if it's
because just replace that x with c. That's input, right? Input 2c is output, right? If I put in the c in the 2x, what's my output? 2c. Input, output.
Wait.
So if
Start
I
from that
go,
side.
Oh my god.
okay, cool, fine.
Okay, so
I know.
we also gonna talk about some simple one.
You're good, that's good.
I'm good. So some simple one here. So just say, hey, limit x approach to 2 out of 4x squared plus 2. Then you can actually use the sum rule. The sum rule is going to say limit x approach to 2 of 4x squared plus limit x approach to 2 of 2. Maybe I should use 3 because I can see the difference. If I use the 3, it's probably better. So if limit x approach to 2 at here, it's going to give me what? 2 squared 4, 16, right?
Yeah.
What's limit x approach to 2 here?
3.
No. Oh, 3, yes. Sorry, I got confused myself. 19, right? Does this make sense? So essentially, when they say 2, just plug in 2.
But that's the limit approach to 19, right?
Yeah, so this is going to equal to 19. So just plug in 2 and see what happens. Now, what we're going to talk about today is, what if I plug in a value and there is different situation occur? So let's talk about how do I find limits algebraically. Can somebody help me how to spell?
Algebra. No, bra. Like
Algebra. After the
Wait, no,
word A, I, C. Right?
algebra.
That is so
Algebra.
wrong. It's so wrong.
It sounds like a magician, dude.
Algebra like
Algebraically.
There's just an A after the
You just made a word.
Okay. No, after the
Okay.
before the I.
I will trust Suha.
A-L-G.
So it's
B-R-A.
B-R-A-I.
B-R.
A.
A-I.
It was
Yeah, you were right.
just
You
one
just needed
letter
an
off.
L.
No.
Right?
An L.
Yeah.
Cali.
Algebraically.
L and A.
Are you sure?
I don't care. Suha, I trust her.
That's right.
Okay, so what happened with the algebraically? The first thing is let's build a flowchart. A flowchart is you're gonna plug in the value. So you're gonna plug in the value, plug in the value, right? Plug in the input. And if you get a number, that means you're done. So if you plug in, like say 2, you get a value, boom, voila. You don't have to do any more math. But the problem is on your AK exam never show up these questions. Every time you plug in a value, it's going to get something else. And that something else is more likely if you plug in and you're going to get 0 over 0. What we call it?
Undefined.
Non-defined.
Determined.
Undetermined. Okay, so where if you have 0 over 0, then we don't no longer says that is the answer, because 0 over 0 is not an answer. We know that's an open circle, but we don't know where the location is. We don't know where the output over there is, right? So we're gonna say, pay attention to this, do math,
No.
Damn.
okay?
Would've known.
But all this math is something you know from Algebra 1, Algebra 2, pre-calculus. So what is the math? The math is, well, factor, cancel factor. First possible thing that can happen to you in the stage, cancel factor. The second thing is called conjugate.
Conjugate the verb. The
No,
verb.
it's not in Spanish.
Conjugate the verb.
In math, that means usually involved with the radical. And usually involved with this. A squared minus B squared equal to A plus B times A minus B. What is that? Difference of the square. You're gonna use the difference of the square to get rid of radicals. Pretty much that's what the conjugate means. The third step is as, hey, can you, let's just say, combine fractions? And this one's probably the hardest one on your test is combined fraction because a lot of you guys' algebra skills not up to par. But pretty much I can give this to anybody else that who's good at math can figure out this without doing too much work. I will show you how to do it, however. So I'm gonna start with the first question. Limit x approach to, I don't know. Do you like 2?
Sure.
Yeah, it seems pretty cool.
Okay, so it'll be x minus 2. And then x cubed minus 8.
Oh, cute.
What happened if I plug in 2?
Undefined.
But then you do math.
You're in the hole.
You can do difference of cube, right?
So if I plug in 2, I'm going to get 2 to the third power, which is 8. 8 minus 8 is 0 over 0, right?
Oh, undetermined.
If it's 0 over 0, then you say, that means it's the time to do math. But do you see radical?
Yes.
No, you don't see radical. What's a radical?
I'm tripping. Never mind.
What kind of drug are you on?
Could go.
You can.
Is that the good one?
Okay,
I'm
so
telling you.
this one here, you say, okay, well, let's factor it because obviously there's no radical. Combined fraction, there's nothing to combine. There's nothing else you can do, right? So you say, okay, let's put soap, right? So we talked about soap. A lot of you guys, it's on the review packet. I didn't test you, that means the next test is coming up. So you have to know how to do it. So the soap is this. A to the cube plus B to the cube equal to A plus B times A squared minus AB plus B squared. A to the cube minus B to the cube is equal to A minus B times A squared plus AB plus B squared.
Okay, what the hell? You wanna break that down?
So,
Yes, I teach you that in pre-calculus.
Yes, but I've forgotten it. so-
Okay, so this one is same.
Okay.
This one is opposite. This one is here, always positive.
So, yep, I remember now.
Okay, S-O-A-P, S-O-A-P, soap. This one is always the same sign. This one's always opposite sign. This one's always positive. A plus B is same as before. This one just kind of like think about a blood type of a AB parents married together, have a child, right? Putnam square. You guys remember Putnam square?
Yeah.
A square, AB, B square. So that's all the ingredient, like all the blood type you can have. A, blood type A, AB, and B square. So then if you use this, you can figure out this one is that if AQ is XQ, so therefore A must be X. So limit X approach to 2 of X minus Q root of A is 2. And that's going to be X squared plus 2X plus 4 all over X minus 2. Now this factor, not only this factoring, all the factoring skill you're supposed to know is going to be to here. Please don't mess up. Any kind of factoring is your responsibility, not mine. You're supposed to know all kinds. This again cancel out. I'm going to plug in 2 here. It's going to be 2 squared. So limit X approach to 2 of X squared plus 2X plus 4. So that's equal to 2 squared plus 2 times 2 plus 4. That's equal to 12.
Yeah, that's what
Frankly, intellectual.
okay.
So does that matter difference of a square? Does that matter trinomial? Does that matter synthetic division? All those are your responsibility because now I'm just teaching the calculus part. Your responsibility is to figure out the algebra part. Okay? Question about this part?
So what's the answer?
We're going to talk about next question. We're going to give you 2 examples, and the last example we're going to show you how to do it. We might run out of time, but you have to stay over to listen to the last part. So we have this question. I think yesterday we have this question. If I remember correctly, it's like this. Yesterday, look at yesterday's notes. I don't know if that function is correct.
Yeah.
Right? We found out the answer is what? It was 2, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to do something magical here. What happens if I plug in 0? 0 over square root of 1 minus 1, which is 0 over 0, which is indeterminate, right? Okay, so it's indeterminate, that means I have to do math, but what kind of math I'm doing? Conjugate. Now I'm going to show you how the conjugate works. So I'm going to erase this part. I'm going to say this one is going to be a minus b. Do you remember difference of a square? And if you multiply this a plus b, what will happen?
It will be a squared.
So we use this thing to get rid of radical, which is really cool. Is what are you going to multiply this? We're going to multiply, if this is a, this is b, that must mean I need a square root of x plus 1 plus 1. Does that make sense? Now we already know the result of the bottom multiplied together is going to be. What is my result?
X plus 1.
Wait, no.
X plus 1.
It's going to be square like this, right? Minus 1 and an x. Make sure you put a parenthesis around here so that way it can help you. So parenthesis square root of x plus 1 plus 1. What happened is you got, let's say square root of 2 and then square. What do you think is going to get? Square root of 2 times square root of 2 is what? Come on, square root of 2 times square root of 2 is what? Square root of 4. What is square root of 4? 2. So this cancels each other, right? Radical are no longer there. So if we limit x approaches 0, x times square root of x plus 1 over x plus 1 minus 1. What's x plus 1 minus 1?
0. Oh, wait.
So x times square root of x plus 1 all over x. Every time you cancel,
Leave a 1.
then you leave a 1 there. Thank you. So if it's the other way around, otherwise you're going to forget. At least algebra students forget all the time. So now I can plug in 0 into here. So that's going to be square root of 1 plus square root plus 1, which is the answer we got the other day is 2.
So that's how we got it.
How much time I have?
You have 10 minutes?
11.
Okay, good. I'm going to give you one last example. You're going to do all 3. So this one example is going to be very fast. Limit x approach to I'm going to give you this one, says 3. And 1 over, no, I'm going to go to 0, sorry. I'm going to do a 0. 1 over x plus 4. And minus 1 over 4, all over x. Okay, so this case is obviously the third case that we are discussing. Third case is what? Combine fraction. Where do you see that you can combine? The numerator, right? So what we're going to do is take care of the numerator first. We're going to say, we're going to multiply this. We're going to make sure they have least common denominator so they can subtract. So I need this side to have a 4. I need this side to have what?
Exponential
4.
Are we okay here? And then I'm gonna get limit x approach 0, 4 over 4 times x plus 4 minus 1 over 4 times x plus 4
That's x plus 4.
and then x plus 4. Does that make sense?
Yep.
All over x. So can I keep it in the same denominator?
Yeah. X.
So that's gonna be 4 times x plus 4. And it's gonna be 4, this is a problem that people usually forget, is minus x plus 4. Okay, this is what people make mistake right here, is they forgot to distribute a negative sign to all the terms. So this is a numerator, and this is denominator. So we gotta make sure that we understand that. This is the numerator right here. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Can I simplify this?
Yep.
I'm gonna do it on the side. 4 minus x plus 4 is what?
Negative x.
4 minus x minus 4, right? Negative x. So on the top it's gonna be negative x over 4 times x plus 4. Am I going too fast?
Oh.
All over x with the limit in the front. Some people is gonna say, if I don't write a limit, am I gonna take points off? Yes, please write a limit.
For every
Because-
step.
Yes.
For every
But like, for
But that's
instance,
so long.
Well, you wanna get a 4 or you wanna get a 5, or you wanna get a 2 or you wanna get a 1. It's your choice. It's not my choice.
Whatever bottom line.
limit for every time.
So this divided by this, so it'll be negative x over 4 times x plus 4. Divided by x. Divided by x, can I rewrite it?
If you change its limit together.
Times 1 over x, right? Can I say that?
Yeah, it'd be x over
So
4.
It's excellent one.
because you're
No.
flipping it's over x.
No. Divided by x. If this divided by x, that means divide x, that means times 1 over x. This part is gonna
Oh.
cancel out,
So it's negative 1 over.
so it's gonna be limit x approaches 0 of negative 1 over 4 times x plus 4. And that's equal to what?
1 over, negative 1 over 16.
Negative 1 over 16. Okay, now you're gonna try it to 3 different questions and make sure you get through at least 2 before you go. Preferably you get all 3. Limit x approach to 2 of 3x squared plus 5x minus 2 over x plus 2. Am I on the camera?
Yeah, well, I can
you
change
roll the
it.
camera.
There you go, bro. In HD.
Limit x approach to 3 square root of x plus 1 minus 2 over x minus 3. All 3 questions are going to show up on the exam. Limit, so I will prefer you did all of them. Make sure you know how you're doing. Which one I like? X approach 0, 1 over x plus 2 minus 1/2 all over x. So now you're accounting for all the things. Also, simple math fact. Okay, when you simplify this, what do you get? When you simplify this, what you get? Negative 1, thank you. You want to factor out negative 1 here, so it'll be x minus 5, and this is negative x minus 5. And this cancel out, that's equal to negative 1. So some test question might be a tricky algebra question, and this is an algebra question that can trick you. Three x squared plus 5x minus 2 over x plus 2. That one should be easy. If you know how to factor, it should be done probably right now.
Yeah.
Which one?
First one, A. B is the radical one, so you know how to deal with radical. The next one's combined fractions. So this is where the math begins. I have two people watching. Why is that?
Yeah,
Well, that's
I
me.
saw that too.
Huh?
That's
That's
weird.
me. I pulled it up. I was trying to see how delayed it was.
How much did they?
It's like 3 seconds.
It's not bad.
I'm pretty sure Renato watches your streams.
So random.
I was commenting, but it doesn't show up.
Really?
And it's Assad. Assad's watching.
Assad, where's Assad watching?
I don't know.
He's born in the college. Yeah, he's in college.
Yeah, I know.
Watching in the middle of the class.
Okay. I said, hi, what's up, Mr. Yet? How can you see comments? Did you disable it? And he just said, dope. Assad.
Yeah, so Assad only give you one word answer.
Yeah.
He's bored of college. Too easy for him.
He said UCF is lame.
You see it then.
Yeah, college kid. How'd you get the verb?
He should have won a UF. I hate this fair. They have
Good
long ones.
afternoon, Cypress Creek Bears.
It's
Time for
been
afternoon
5 minutes of my life.
announcements. First, tomorrow there will, August 27th after school, there will be the annual meeting for the National Spanish Honor Society. It will be
He doesn't
from
have
12
class.
to 12 with senior
He has
college.
work in 20 minutes, so he decided to watch
The
it.
Best Buddies will be having their first interest meeting on Tuesday, August 27th.
Yes,
Today,
where-
after
where you
school
work?
at 2:30 and 12/1/11.
Oh,
Get
magnesium.
there.
It's working
Track and
magnesium.
field will also have an interest meeting today after school in the PE classroom, 3108, for anyone who's interested. If for some reason you can't make it, make sure you talk to Coach Adams or Coach Johnson any day. There will be a yoga club interest meeting in 7104, Ms. Lyons'
Yeah, you
classroom
guys were having it.
today
Join that
after
club.
school. So yoga club today after school in 7104. There will also be an interest meeting today for the HSA, Monsignor Rodriguez. This will be the first meeting of the year. Please stop by and talk to her if you can't make it, and her room is 12104. So if you're interested in the Hispanic Student Association, please see Ms. Rodriguez. Robotics Club will be holding an interest meeting also today in the Media Center right after school with Mr. Oswald. So again, if you're interested in robotics, see Mr. Oswald. Finally, a meeting that is not today will be the National Arts Honor Society. They will have their interest Thursday, August 29th, 8:108 right after school. This is a great club if you love art,
And then-
and if you're an Also on Thursday afternoon, there'll be a boys' interest meeting for soccer
So.
in 8107 after school. So again, if you're interested in soccer, 8107 this Thursday afternoon. And finally, the coding club has an interest meeting this Thursday also in room 8203 right after school. Join the programming portal and start making your own programs for CAS practice or for fun. Get it. Coding, please be to room 8203. And with that, that concludes the afternoon announcement. Make sure that when you leave, you're safe and have a great, fantastic day.
Don't get run over by a car. Don't let Mr. Yin cut you off.
How do you already have a bump on your car?
Huh?
How do you already have a bump?
No, I bought a car with a bump.
Oh.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I believe that story.
You don't know how much a bump cost, the discount is. A bump's like, at least like $600 discount. So it's like, it's worth it. I'm gonna pay $600, I don't give a shit about how many bump I have. So,
I think it's still alive.
did you get all of them? What's the first one? 5? What's the second one? 1/4 is it correct?
It's right.
You sure?
We both.
1/4? Any disagreement? No? What's the last one?
-1/4.
-1/4? Is that right? I don't know, I didn't do it.
I just finished the last one.
So if you didn't get that one, then you can stay, we can see if those answers correct. Huh?
Sorry, can you give us more?
I'm gonna post a homework right now.
No.
Can you turn it off?
Do I just exit out?
Screen over there.